In a tense courtroom packed with attorneys, reporters, and community activists, the truth came crashing down like a gavel, swift, undeniable, and delivered not by the prosecution nor the defense, but by the very man the system had tried to silence. When 31-year-old Terrell Grant walked into Wayne County Circuit Court wearing a navy blue suit and holding a thin black binder, few in the room suspected he was carrying a bombshell. Grant had been falsely arrested in February 2024 after being stopped outside his workplace by Officer Paul Redmond of the Detroit Police Department. Redmond claimed Grant matched the description of a robbery suspect and that he had resisted arrest, allegedly shoving the officer and attempting to flee. Grant was charged with obstruction, resisting arrest, and assaulting an officer. But none of that happened. "I kept telling them to check the surveillance footage," Grant recalled. "But nobody wanted to listen. Once they hear assaulting an officer, you're already guilty in their eyes." The surveillance footage from a nearby store was mysteriously unavailable for months. Meanwhile, Grant, a graduate student in criminal justice and paralegal by trade, decided to dig deeper. Using his research skills, he filed a Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) request for any internal affairs records related to Officer Redmond. What he received nearly 2 months later stunned him. A heavily redacted but damning internal report from 2023 detailing previous misconduct by Redmond, including 2 sustained complaints for falsifying reports and 1 for excessive force. Though the report didn't directly reference Grant's case, it revealed a pattern. And in court last Thursday, it became the turning point. Redmond took the stand and testified under oath that he had no prior disciplinary history and no sustained findings related to use of force. That's when Grant, representing himself with court-appointed co-counsel, stood and requested to submit a new exhibit, the Internal Affairs Report. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Anita Rosario raised an eyebrow. "You're saying you have official documentation contradicting the officer's sworn testimony?" "Yes, Your Honor," Grant replied. "It's a report from DPD's Internal Affairs, obtained legally through FOIA." He handed the binder to the bailiff. As the judge read silently, Redmond's attorney whispered urgently. The officer stared straight ahead, jaw tight. "Officer Redmond," the judge finally said, "you just testified under oath that you had no sustained complaints. This report suggests otherwise. Do you wish to amend your testimony?" The officer stammered. I must have misunderstood the question, but it was too late. Within minutes, Judge Rosario called a recess and ordered an immediate review for perjury and Brady violations. By the next morning, the prosecution had dropped all charges against Grant. The district attorney's office confirmed it was launching an inquiry into Redmond's testimony, while the Detroit Police Department announced that the officer had been placed on administrative leave, pending further investigation. Grant, once facing jail time, walked out of the courthouse a free man, and a vindicated one. "It wasn't just about clearing my name," he told reporters. "It was about showing that the system only works if we make it work. I had to fight to be heard, but I had the truth, and I had the paperwork." Social media exploded with praise, tagging Grant as a legal warrior and a man who beat the system with receipts. Hashtags like number FOIA hero and number HE brought the files trended nationwide. Civil rights attorney Adia Hall commended Grant's diligence. "This is what self-advocacy looks like. Mr. Grant did what many can't. He exposed corruption using the very tools the system tried to bury." Legal experts say this case could prompt statewide policy changes requiring full disclosure of officer disciplinary records in criminal cases, a reform long demanded by civil liberties groups. When asked what's next, Grant smiled modestly. "I'm going back to finish my thesis," he said. "It's on institutional accountability in law enforcement. This gave me a little more field work than I expected." But for a man who faced lies, cuffs, and the weight of an unjust charge, the real victory was simple. He didn't just defend himself, he exposed the truth.